Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. So I asked a question: who wants to know what are the keys or some of the keys to mastering Arabic curriculum for learning Arabic language, such as Madinah Arabic series, Bayna Yadayk, and other curriculum that is designed for non-Arabic speakers to learn Arabic? There's many videos on YouTube for learning Arabic, and there are many videos online on somebody teaching from these particular curriculums for learn the Arabic language. Myself, who has looked at many of these books or studied from some of these curriculums over the years, and looking at other people who study from this curriculum, their location, where they study it, where they at, and who's teaching the curriculum. There's some approaches that different teachers use, and I'm speaking about the teacher who is qualified to teach Arabic as a second language. Those who have the degrees in Arabic language, and they went through programs and they went through courses on how to teach Arabic to the non-native speaker. So there are approaches. The same approaches are used to teach any language to a person that is not native to that language. Most of the approaches are the same. But I want to add in, there's a key to mastering these books. Now, many people who teach from these books and many people who use these curriculum, these courses like Bayna Yadayk and books like Madinah Arabic course and other curriculum like Kitab, that many students, they go through the lessons and they review the book and they learn vocabulary or they learn rules. But there is a real key to master the curriculum. One of the keys to mastering the curriculum in these particular books is writing repetitively, writing the lessons, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but writing the lessons in the books like 10 times each. See, one of the things or the factors about learning a second language, and depending on which language it is that there's something related to time. How much time you spend in learning that language. And so some educators related to foreign languages, they put a time span on certain languages, how long or how many hours or how long you need to spend with this language to really master the language or to become intermediate or become fluent in the language. All right, to become fluent and to become accurate in the language. Some would say the harder the language, the longer times. And the language that are hard and takes time to master is the Arabic language and Asian speaking languages like Japanese and Korean and things like this. All right, they would say you need to have more time, spend a lot of time. So this is where my advice is coming from for those who want to master this type of curriculum, wherein the lessons become very useful to you, is writing them out and reading them out loud. Writing up the lessons like 10, 15 times. What I mean by writing out about 10 times, this is where you're going to spend in time, repetition. See, with the Arabic language, there is a repetition that you need to be spending. Some might say, for example, if I look at my own language, the English language, depending on a person's educational background and how much he used the English language daily, meaning, if he's a professional person like a lawyer or journalist, a teacher or educator, that they use the language in a professional way every day. So they're reading and writing. They're into literature, They're into a reading. They really into the language, the English language, wherever they feel this in. All right, they're using it every day. And the person would say, well, if you want to keep up with your reading in English, read the newspaper. Read not just any newspaper. Read a business journal in the newspaper. Read a law journal in the newspaper or a magazine. Read these hard subjects and do a lot of reading instead of spending a lot of time reading books on English grammar, for example. This is what people will tell you. Right? So do a lot of reading and writing and looking at the particular field in English you want to study or you're studying, reading a lot of things within it. Same thing with the Arabic language. Same thing with the books and the curriculum that you're learning. A person would say, but Arabic is hard. I hear this many times from people. And I tell people, man, I have a GED, man. GED and some college credits. Man, all about Arabic language is how much time you put in it. And not just how much time you put in it, what you do with that time. How you spend that time learning the language. That's the key. How you spend the time. So those curriculum like Arabic Made Easy, a Madinah Arabic course, Arabiya Bain al-Yadayik, Muhammad ibn Saud, that if you really want to master the lessons in these books, is that you take the lessons or the crucial part of the lesson in that book, whether it's a dialogue, and within the dialogue they're presenting some information or some knowledge, that you'll write out these lessons like 10 times. 10 times. This is you spending time reading. This is you now spending time writing. This is you now spending time with the vocabulary in the lesson by writing it out, reading it out loud, practicing it. You're using the language now, all right? And by you writing it out, the lessons about 10 times, now this is you getting more practice with repetition. 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 Goes back to when people are learning the Quran, right? They start reciting or reading the same thing, same ayat or same surah, depending on the size of the surah, or reading that certain amount of ayats, the same saying it and repeating it a lot until they memorize it. This is how you have to use those books for the Arabic curriculum to master the lessons, but not just reading out loud alone, but writing out the lessons like 10 times. This is how you master the lessons in the book. This is how you master the lessons. So when you go to the next lesson, you got a lot of practicing in. You spend time sitting down. You spend time writing, working on your penmanship. You spend time reading out loud, so you got time repeating things and doing things by repetition and reading something out loud by repetition. And you also hearing yourself and you hearing those words being repeated to you by you reading them out loud. And phrases. This is how you master those books and those curriculum. And this is going to be the main thing going to help you to master the Arabic language within itself. Reading things by repetition. Writing things by repetition. You ever see in those particular Muslim countries that they recite al-Warish? How do they learn Quran? If anybody been to like the Maghreb, all right, you've been to North Africa, you've been to Morocco, or you've been to East Africa or African countries, especially where they recite Warish, how do they learn Quran? How do children learn Quran? How do adults learn the Quran? They have these tablets where they're writing out the ayats in the Quran. They have the tablets where the wooden tablets, and they're writing in a chalk or a particular type of ink. They're writing out the ayats down and memorizing it as they writing the ayat down. So you go into the markaz, and you will find if you have the markaz of the Quran, you'll find in this Islamic Center for Quran, you go inside and you see all those wooden tablets. You'll find that the kids reading and writing on them. And this is how they master the surah in the Quran, by memorizing it and writing it. Same thing with the Arabic lessons in these books. They're reading out loud and they're writing down, connecting to what you're saying by writing it. It's going to stay in your memory long term. That's how you must deal with the Arabic curriculum in those Medina books. Those Madinah Arabic course, Arabina Bina Yadayik, Kitab al-Sasi, whatever the course or the curriculum is, Muhammad ibn Saud. This is how you master the lessons in the book. This is how you master the lesson. This is how you spend time with repetition. And this is how you spend your time by reading and writing, so the language is now it's staying with you. Right? And this is the advice I wanted to give to some of the people who responded to my other posts about what are the keys to mastering these things. Even also in the end, even with reviewing, this is a good way even to review old lessons. Say you learned Arabic already, but you're losing vocab, you're losing expressions, you're forgetting words. Well, write it out. Write them out. And you don't have to write it down on a piece of paper. You could just type it up on your computer. And this is also even the typing on the computer with the Arabic lessons. This is gonna how you're gonna practice al-kitaba, writing with the keyboard, Arabic keyboard. This is how you learn to write with the Arabic keyboard, right? Writing out lessons on repetition. Same thing. How you learn how to type is by repeating certain letters and by repetition. How you learn how to type without looking at the keys, right? In English, right? You see something, your practice where the letter is at. Same thing when you want to learn how to write Arabic with the keyboard, is the same thing, right? But you look for certain things, one particular lesson, whatever, and just type it out. This is how you do it. You just type it out. If you already know Arabic and you want to review some of your Arabic language, or you want to learn how to even type in Arabic for the computer or for a keyboard, this is how you learn. This is how you practice the Arabic for typing. This is how I learned how to type in Arabic. How to type in Arabic the same way. Typing out lessons, take one lesson or a dars in Arabic, and take a paragraph and learning where the key's at without looking at it. Right? And now this is like, I tried that maybe about in 2009. And in Arabic, I still could type in Arabic in the keyboard, so no problem without looking at the letters. Matter of fact, I don't have the Arabic script on my keyboard. I don't have the Arabic script on my keyboard. This is my keyboard. I have all English. There's no Arabic script. But if I want to type something, give me a second. All right. If I want to type something in Arabic, I don't need to look at the letters. See, look. All right. I don't have to look at the letters. All right. I already know. I'm two hands. You got to type with two hands. All right. See? Salam. All right. I don't have no keyboard. I don't have no letters on it. How I learned this is by typing a lot in Arabic. As-salam. All right. This is how I learned how to type in Arabic. This is how you learn lessons in Arabic. Repetition. By doing things by repetition. That's how you're going to memorize something to stay with you permanently. All right. Now we'll end with that.